Nah, I should be good.
After this, I still got 6 more.
How long do they last?
I mean, they're like 1 and done. Yeah. So you crush it there. Yeah. We doing video now?
Yep.
AJ's about to go for a 1 rep max, personal best, 300-pound bench press. On your count.
Okay, let's go.
Ready? Come on. Prep. Still gonna work for it.
Not going anywhere.
275 moved relatively quickly. 300 didn't. So I think we got 285 in us. What should I do? The logical next step is 4 plates.
That's all you. Yeah, buddy.
PR gang.
405, finally. We're smelling salts, baby. Let's go. As many as you can. 2, 3. Come on. 4. Let's go. 5. Let's go. Watch that left arm. 6. Come on. Come on. Come on. So this is AJ.
What's up, guys?
AKA Alton Moore, who just completed the first form 8-week transformation challenge and absolutely killed it. You lost how much?
20 pounds.
20 pounds in 8 weeks. And this guy has, I don't know how many kids again? 5,000 kids.
5.
And a wife, and he works full time. He works his ass off, still prepped all his meals, hit all his macros every day. Made it to the gym every day, absolutely killed it. Super proud of you, dude.
Thanks, man.
And congratulations. I know that we got a lot more ahead of us this year, and I'm stoked for it. Sorry, we're a little out of breath because we just tested our 1 rep maxes on bench press, and then we did a 225, as many reps as possible. AJ got 275.
275.
We jumped up a little aggressively to 300. I feel like you had 290 in you,
Right.
for sure.
Wasn't having the 300.
300 didn't go. I personally got 405, which is a PR for me, so I was really excited about that. And then we did 225 for reps.
30.
And I got 30 reps,
30. God.
which felt like a lot. And then you got 7, I think, right?
7, yeah,
So-
single digits.
Now we're gonna do some more chest accessory stuff. We're about to do cable flies, and then we'll probably do some sort of incline press, and then maybe a dip, and then move into more tricep focused stuff after that. The dip I always like as a good segue movement because it incorporates a lot of tricep and it incorporates your chest. But anyway, that's what we got going on, and then we'll sit down with AJ afterwards and talk a little more about the transformation and how all of that went. So let's get it.
Sounds good.
And so you guys will notice AJ prefers to do 1 foot forward stance, which is perfectly fine. That's not going to affect how you isolate the pecs in any capacity because his body is still square, right? So if this is a more comfortable, stable position for you, you can totally do that. I prefer having my feet side by side, and that works too. So whatever works best for you. We got Lewis here, everybody. The resident shit talker. chain. Hell yeah. If you've seen any of our vlogs, you know that we're fucking awkward.
You guys are rolling. You're good to go.
Are we rolling? All right, so that was chest and triceps with AJ. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk a little bit about AJ's transformation journey and kind of how we met and how we ended up at this point. So, excuse me. I had a protein cookie. I'm trying to digest it.
Gotta chew that
Actually,
thing up
hold on.
first.
Hold on a sec. This brought to you by First One. So AJ actually reached out to me on Instagram, and funny story, he noticed that we live in the same neighborhood. So he was like, hey man, I noticed you live in, I'm not gonna say the neighborhood because I don't want you guys to come hunt me down. And I was like, yeah bro, I do. And so we went back and forth, and I had posted, I believe you noticed that I had posted, you know, the free diet plans.
Right.
And he was like, hey man, what's that all about? And you know, I told him, I'll write you a free diet plan. Had him fill out a questionnaire. We got him set up to start.
Well, that was where I was struggling the most because I was already working out,
right.
But my diet was, you know.
And your story is like a lot of people's stories, right? And the way mine was at a point too, because I had gotten very frustrated with my health around the time my daughter was born, and I wanted to get my shit together to be a better parent. And your story really resonated with me when you reached out. If you want to talk about that just a little bit, because I feel like a lot of people are kind of, especially if you're in your early, mid, late 30s, 40s, you're going to be maybe in the same place that we've been in. And this guy is a perfect example of the fact that it doesn't take long and you can completely turn that shit around with the proper guidance and sticking to the right plan and putting in the work. Yeah, 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
So when you came to me, kind of what was your state of mind, physically, mentally, everything, and then, you know, kind of what did we do? Walk me through the process of where you were versus where you are now and how we got there.
Okay. Well, yeah, my kids were my biggest motivating factor.
5 kids.
5 kids.
5 kids.
5 kids. Hold on, cut. Do you want me to kind of tell the story on
Yeah. So
the wrestling thing and
absolutely do all that, and we'll find a way to like make it all flow good.
Okay.
Flow well.
Okay. Action.
Yeah.
So last November I was wrestling around with one of my kids, and so I was just huffing and puffing, and I couldn't keep up, and I just felt, you know, physically defeated as a man, as a father. I knew that I had to make some changes.
And at that time, how much did you weigh?
I was around 200 pounds at that time.
How tall?
I'm 5'5". It's not a good look at 5'5". I was maxing out a large shirt, and
what's this?
This is a medium.
looking swole.
So yeah, we're jacked and a medium now.
Okay, so you're wrestling around with
Right.
kids.
So I mean, I just felt like I was losing that status as alpha male in this household, and that's, you know, something I value, and you know, I'm not looking to give that up.
Yeah.
So I want to set the example, and I wanted to make some changes, and so that was why I reached out.
Did you ever get like, come on, Dad, keep up, or any of that stuff?
Not so much.
Okay.
Just,
I was
you know.
saying, man, that would really, I'd be like, oh, you.
Right. No, I knew, and now that I've changed, I get that. Yeah, Dad, you were pretty fat. I'm like, I know. I'm sorry.
But they're like, you're awesome now.
Right. Exactly. Now it's like, Dad, you're jacked, man. Oh, the kids at wrestling say you're getting jacked.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I think you said like the coaches had even said something.
Right. Yeah. One of the John and Jack were at practice, and I wasn't there or anything, and they overheard the coaches talking. Like, did you see John and Jack's dad?
Yeah.
He's getting jacked.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's badass. So you're wrestling around, you're feeling out of shape, you're like, God, I need to make a change. What'd you do then?
So then I started working out, and with my schedule, I had to, you know, the only place I could sacrifice was in the sleep department.
Right.
So I started getting up at 4 in the morning.
Listen to this.
4 in the morning, and I was going to the Y downtown before I went to work. I had to be at work at 7:15, so I was squeezing in that workout before I had to get to work. And then at that time, my schedule, I was working till, you know, 9:30. I was working 14-hour days.
So this man has to be at work at 7 a.m. That's when a lot of you guys wake up, or maybe even before a lot of you guys wake up. He has 5 kids, and he still manages to get up earlier and work out.
Right, so then, you know, I was trying to get in bed by 11 so I could at least try to squeeze 5 hours of sleep in.
I remember getting texts from you at like 11:30, and I'm like,
All hours of
AJ
the
needs to go to bed, man.
Right.
He needs to get his sleep. I'm like worried for your sleep. I'm like, dude, I love chatting with you, man, but you know, I'm going to bed now.
Right.
So
yeah, that was the time when I started working out until we got together. I was still eating trash, but I was just starting to work out.
Right.
So I lost about 7 pounds then. So I got from about 200 till when we started the challenge, it was 193.
Yeah, and guys, in general, like what he did, I mean, that's perfectly fine. And in fact, I would almost advise that to some extent. Like, pick one or the other, the gym or diet, to hit really hard, and then add the other element in. I mean, that's not a bad approach, because you can overwhelm yourself if you say, all right, starting tomorrow, I'm eating no sugar, I'm gonna hit these macros, I'm gonna only drink water, I'm gonna go to the gym 6 days a week. Like, you can burn yourself out, and sometimes a stepwise approach can be a good way to do it. So
Right.
I don't even know if that was your plan, but it actually worked out pretty well.
I mean, it is basically how they tell you to structure it accidentally. Like, it was really hard. I set 5 alarms in the morning
Yeah.
to get up, and so I was really only going about 3 days a week when I first
Right.
started going.
Now, in terms of, I know you were just kind of still eating whatever, like what, and I know you had sent me my answers to the questionnaire, but like for everyone else, like kind of what were you eating before we started the diet? Like, what would a general day of eating be?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, because right,
So
you would just
long
eat
ago.
whatever, whenever.
Right. I would eat whatever, whenever.
Fast food.
Fast food. When I would prep food, I would just, you know, kind of just wing it.
Right.
You know, I didn't really have any structure to it.
Yeah.
You know, so it was, you know, just hit or miss.
Right, and that's a really important point, and we were talking about that on the drive here. You know, failing to plan, you might as well be planning to fail. So that's a huge part of this, is putting that plan into place and actually preparing. So like when you prepare for the week, have all your meals made, you're already setting yourself up for success. And you can go into the week with the best intentions, but if you haven't prepared the food, actually done that step, you will break down at some point. You will fail. You won't have as solid a plan as if you had prepared everything. So no matter how well intended you are to eat clean, it can break down if you don't have everything made. Wouldn't you agree that's been a
Absolutely.
huge step for you?
Yeah, on the weeks that maybe I had prepared 70% of my food for the week, to make up that other 30% midweek, I mean, it was almost physically impossible.
You find yourself scrambling.
Right, based on my schedule. Or then
Yeah.
I was sacrificing my sleep to try to make that last
Right.
bit of food. So it's
Right.
you really have to force yourself to make everything Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's so huge, man. It's so important. All right, so we're wrestling around. We're feeling out of shape. We start hitting the gym, waking up earlier, 4 a.m., you work out, you're going to work at 7, you're working 14 hours, You're sacrificing your sleep. And then finally, I believe at this point, how long had you been working out before we got in touch? It was a couple months?
Right, so that was the end of the week of Thanksgiving. Oddly enough, like the fattest week of the year was when I decided to start turning my life around.
Well, that's a great time, man.
So then around January, I saw you had posted, and you guys had moved into the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You had posted about the free meal plans.
Yep.
I hit you up. I'm like, bruh, I need a... So we started doing that, and then I started prepping all this food, and it was so much food.
I remember, dude. And like, it will seem that way for a lot of you who work with me or someone else who, makes a meal plan for you. When you're eating 2,000 clean calories, it's a big difference versus eating, fast food or whatever. You can get that number of calories very quickly because everything's so dense calorically and rich in fats and everything. But when you start to eat clean food like chicken and rice, and I know we have a lot of cottage cheese and rice cakes and egg whites and spinach and oats, and it feels like you're eating a ton. And I remember you told me, like, man, it's going to be like a struggle to get all this stuff in.
Right.
But in general, you start to adapt, right? Like,
absolutely.
It got easier.
Yeah, it becomes a routine.
Yeah. And oddly enough, and I get this especially a lot from my female clients, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm eating all this food and I'm losing weight.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I told you, I promise. Because what happens is your metabolism is operating at a higher basal rate because you're essentially stoking the fire every few hours. And so now you're not holding on to excess calories for energy reserves because your body, it knows that it has more calories coming. Right. So the metabolism essentially becomes more leaky, which is a good thing because you're letting go of those energy reserves. Put that with training, and now you're burning even more calories. So guys, that's another very common thing that I think folks getting into it are a little leery about. They're like, I don't know, all that food, it doesn't seem right, all that protein. You got to trust the process.
Once you kind of hit rock bottom, if you will, I just gave up control. I said, I don't
remember. You were like,
right.
Do what you tell me, man.
I didn't even pretend like I knew anything about diet and fitness anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, just tell me what to do, and that's what we're gonna do.
And you did it, man. You stuck to the plan. We didn't make a ton of changes. And I know you started. So another thing that's important that we haven't talked about is tracking your macros.
Right.
Using MyFitnessPal or a similar app. And I know you started to play around a little bit with, as long as you were hitting your macros, and that's fine too. It's being mindful of your intake for the day. All right, so then the next step was the First Form Transformation Challenge, right?
Right.
So, yeah, tell me about that. How's that been?
It's pretty freaking tough, man. It's following the plan day in, day out, whether you want to or not.
So you were doing so First Form provides you with workouts. They provide you with diets if you want to use their diets, and also a really good tool for accountability in terms of the community that's involved, right? Because I noticed you were on a lot of the live calls and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, once you sign up, you've got access to their dashboard, and on the dashboard they've got your nutrition plan. They've got you can either go with weight loss or lean gain.
Right.
On the nutrition plan, so then they'll tell you what calories, fats, carbs, proteins that's for your meal plan, and then they've got workouts for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday is usually just a cardio day.
Yep.
Then they've got a Facebook group that they keep really active. Their daily content, they do live Q&As. So if you've got a question, you can go into the live Q&A and they'll answer it live immediately and give you an answer. If they can't answer it, if it requires like a longer answer, they just tell you to email them and they'll get back to you via email. They want you to succeed every step of the way, and will do whatever they have to do to help you succeed as long as you do the work.
And that's the important part. Like, one of the big key differences I noticed with you versus a lot of the other people I worked with through the challenge was the fact that you were active in the community too. You were on the live Q&As pretty often. You were posting, you were responding to posts. In my private group, you were active. You were messaging me every day.
I had to stop myself from messaging you.
Dude, you can ask Krista when you finally meet her. Like, I would be like, man, AJ is awesome. He's in touch with me all the time. Like, that's what I want in a client, is someone who holds themselves accountable and doesn't, just try to wing it, but they'll ask.
Right.
And that's so important. That means you genuinely care and you want to do it right. And that was a key differentiator for you versus a lot of the other people that I see that maybe didn't get the results you got, was how active they were in every aspect of it. So, maybe the rest did suffer a little bit, the rest of recovery, but the nutrition, the supplementation, the training, the community aspect of it, I mean, you really hit it from every angle. And then, I guess why don't we tell them what the results were at the end of the 8 weeks?
Well, I lost 20 pounds. I gained muscle. It wasn't just loss. I'm in a medium shirt. I had to buy smaller uniforms at work. All my old clothes from probably 10 years ago fit now, so my wardrobe has expanded.
That's awesome. Yeah, so one key point there is you lost 20 pounds, but you gained muscle mass.
Right.
So you lost more than 20 pounds of fat.
Absolutely.
Which is incredible in 8 weeks. I mean, and people inevitably, and I told you this once we got through it, people want to know what the secret is.
What's your secret?
And there really is no secret.
Hard work.
It's just literally sticking to the plan day in and day out and being consistent and taking those little steps every day that add up to a giant leap at the end. And, when I talk to people that I initially start to work with, they'll say, like, I want to lose, let's say, for example, I start working with someone now, it's March. They'll say, I want to lose 20 pounds by June, or 30 pounds by June, or whatever it is. And I'm like, all right, we're going to start a plan where we have an average loss of 1.5 pounds a week, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, that doesn't sound like enough. I'm like, well, yeah, but at the end of 20 weeks, that's going to be 30 pounds. So, and they're like, oh, and it's like, you just have to make that connection, that incremental change is massive if you do it over time.
Right, yeah, I was weighing in every morning, and there's a graph at the end of the challenge where it's just a constant line.
Yep.
Where there's no extremes, it's all just
right.
Little increments going down.
I mean, it's very simple. You just do the right things, and you just put your head down, and you work hard. And, I've said this in posts on my social media when I posted your final results, but, if anybody had an excuse to cut corners or to maybe take days off and not do the work, is this guy. I mean, 5 kids, getting up at 4 a.m., working 12, 14-hour days. Like, if he can do it, and by the way, prepping his food and making sure he has all his meals, like, if this guy can, like, I was getting inspired by you, because I would be like, shit, man, I should get up. AJ's already been in the fucking gym.
Well, and, that's another thing with my work schedule. I'm there so much. There's no room for error on my meal planning because I have to take all my food with me. I couldn't just say, hey, I can just make dinner at home when I get off work. Well, I'm going to be at work at dinner time. Yep. So, I literally took everything in my lunchbox and ate it during the day. And by the time I got home, it's time for bed.
Exactly. And what am I trying to say here? If you truly want to do it, you'll find a way to do it, period. I'm too busy, or, I just don't have the time. All those things truly mean is I don't care enough about it to prioritize it.
Right. Yeah, that was one of the things too, man. Once the challenge ended, I had to realign my goals to re-motivate after I hit that, 8-week goal. So then it's, well, what am I motivating myself for now to, prep my food?
Mass.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So we can look at that.
Absolutely.
We will. Yeah, man, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you over the last couple months. Even better that we live in the same neighborhood and we were able to meet up and train.
This is the first time we've met
in person.
Yeah. All this work and we,
like literally
never
talked
in person.
Basically daily for the past 2 months through instant messenger or whatever, and finally meeting in person. So it's been a pleasure, man. I look forward to this next year. I know that you're going to just keep killing it. I mean, what'd you do today? Earlier today? went rock climbing, right?
Yeah. My daughter picked up rock climbing, so Daddy picked up rock climbing, and it's
awesome.
It's very difficult.
Well, it's probably a lot easier weighing 20 pounds less.
Hey, absolutely. I could have never rock climbed at 200 pounds.
So
that would have just been embarrassing.
He went rock climbing earlier today, and then he almost benched 300. He hit 275 pretty easily.
So close.
I mean, just a few months ago, man, would you think like, hey, in the morning I'll be rock climbing, and in the evening I'll be bench pressing close to 300 pounds? I mean, it's awesome, dude.
Probably be struggling to get up out of bed and get anything done.
You're killing it, man. It's only been a couple months, and that's what I want to stress to you guys is like, most people underestimate what they can do over time, and they overestimate what they can do in the near term. So, just realign your perspective and have aggressive patience. And basically what that means is attack every day, but know that it's going to take a lot of time attacking the day before you see that big result. But know that it will be there. Right. And this is a perfect example.
The human body is super resilient. I mean, it's never too late to completely change your life.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. If you're 48 years old, sitting there, 100 pounds overweight, thinking that you can't do a fucking thing to change, get up and walk. Just get up and walk, get up and move around. And then, move around a little more the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Take little steps, and then start changing the way you eat. Stop drinking sodas, drink water. Start eating cleaner foods. I mean, you'll be amazed at the change you'll see in a half year. All right? Anyway, I could go on about that forever. It's getting pretty late here. I know you got quite the family to get back to.
Yeah, my wife's probably struggling at home.
Kelly, we love you. Thank you so much. We both have amazing wives. Shout out to my wife, Krista, for letting me be here, and your wife, Kelly, for letting you be here. We appreciate it. Man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
I look forward to continuing to kill it. Peace.